It's the hottest dish in the streets. It's what everyone's talking about on Facebook.
Twitters and Facebooks and all that stuff.
It's time for Big Tigger's Trending Topics on V103.
All right, it's time for the Trending Topics, and it's brought to you by our local search partners at Yellow Pages. Searches for motels in the ATL area are up 39% on the Yellow Pages YP app for Android. Y'all out there looking for the motels, huh? Turn out. Big Tig doing big things. All right, let's start with, there's some interesting challenges and battles going on. Let's start with Drake versus Justin Timberlake. Well, he may have started from the bottom, but he's definitely on top now. The rapper's third album, Nothing Was the Same, debuted at number 1 on the Billboard charts. In its first week, 658,000 copies. With those really, really high sales, it marks the second highest opening week for an album this year. Only Justin Timberlake's 2020 experience sold more in its first week. How many more? Oh, about 310,000. That's right, 2020 experience moved 968,000 copies back in March. But Justin is not done. He may be on his way to his second number 1 album this year. According to Billboard, his latest release, the 2020 experience Part 2, is expected to debut at the top spot on next week's charts after a full week of sales. Early projections are putting JT's Part 2 at 325,000 copies sold at the end of its first week, which won't be enough to take over Drake's first week that just came out with the 658, but if you sold 968 in the first one and you throw 325 in the second one, this year, in 1 week, 2 weeks total, Justin Timberlake will have moved 1 million albums between the two. That is a very, very good look. Billboard notes that Justin may have decided to release part 2 this past Monday as opposed to the regular Tuesday because Monday was the last day of eligibility for the upcoming Grammys. And we do know he likes them phonographs. Let's move on to another battle. This one happens to be more internal. Rihanna sat down with the Glamour magazine as she is also on the cover of their November issue. Inside, she talks about her birth name, the differences between Rihanna and her birth name, Robin. She said, Robin is who I am, and Rihanna, that's an idea of who I am. She also shed some light on mom's influence in regaining her strength and being comfortable with herself again, telling the magazine, quote, I had to regain my fearlessness because it did go away for a little bit. My mother said something to me a few years ago. I've seen something in your eyes I've never seen before, fear. She was like, no, this is not you. I just got back to being okay with myself. What she should be fearful of is whoever keeps trying to break in her house. While she was out gallivanting around Australia, someone drove up to a private road on a $12 million property, walked in the backyard and threw a chair through a sliding glass door. The would-be burglars were scared off by the alarm because they left without entering. Here's the problem. Her house is covered with security cameras, and to approach the property, you have to drive up a private road. And there's a sign that says, smile. You're on camera. Well, the cops are still on hunt for the intruders. This will not be the first time somebody tried to break in. A stalker tried to break in February, but mistakenly entered her neighbor's crib. And then in June, another man was busted by the security team after they spotted him creeping on the roof. She needs to get some dogs and just lead them outside off the lead. Say, come up in here if you want to. I'll show you how Rihanna really do. Well, we're not sure whether or not Robin or Rihanna will upgrade her security, but that is the Trending Topics. Thank you for tuning in and turning up. If you missed any part of this conversation, head on over to v-103.com where you can not only listen to it in its entirety, you can also see my Tigger versus Big Tigger face. Stay tuned and turned up. I'll give you some new details on the government lockdown when we get back on V103.